Welcome back, everyone. We are jumping straight into part 4 of our series, Relax Your Mind and Manifest Everything You Want. Today, we're unlocking some serious Stoic philosophy secrets to help you step into your inner power. And of course, I've got my good friend here with me to help unpack it all.
Thanks for having me. And honestly, I am so ready for this explainer. Lately, I've just been feeling, this deep, heavy exhaustion. It feels like I'm constantly trying to manage the whole universe. Trying to manage other people's expectations, trying to fix things that happened in the past, trying to perfectly orchestrate the future so nothing goes wrong. It completely drains you.
I absolutely get it. And trust me, you are for sure not alone in feeling that way. That exact exhaustion is exactly what we're tackling today, using some incredibly practical ancient wisdom. So here is the core truth we need to start with. The more energy you spend managing things that aren't yours, the more you drain yourself. It sounds so simple when you just say it out loud, but man, it's incredibly hard to actually do in real life. We just naturally want to fix things, right? We want to steer the ship. Exactly, we do. We pour all of our precious energy into worrying about other people's opinions, trying to predict the future, or just obsessing over the past. But here's the kicker. None of those things are actually yours to manage. When you shift your focus strictly to what you can control, so your own thoughts, your actions, your responses, you instantly reclaim your power. You literally stop that energy leak right at the source. Okay, I really want to bring up relationships here because that's where I feel this the hardest. Why is it so unbelievably frustrating to deal with partners or family members sometimes? Like, we just want them to be a little more supportive, or maybe just align a bit more with what we need.
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact trap we all fall into. Think about the massive difference between trying to change people versus setting boundaries and communicating. Have you ever actually tried to force a friend, a partner, or family member to behave differently? No matter how hard you pushed, they probably stayed exactly the same, right?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And then I just end up feeling completely resentful and totally burned out.
Right, because people are simply not ours to control. The Stoic approach flips this entirely. We can communicate our needs, we can set really firm boundaries, we can actively choose who we even allow into our lives, but we absolutely cannot force someone to change.
So, the big question we have to ask ourselves here is this: what actually happens when you let go of the need to force someone to change?
Well, I'm guessing you'd probably sleep a whole lot better at night.
You really would, because when you release that heavy, grasping need to control others, you completely free yourself from that deep, draining frustration we were just talking about. You step back, and by doing that, you actually allow your relationships to unfold naturally. You start accepting people for who they actually are, rather than this idealized version you're trying to force them to be. Okay, that makes total sense for relationships, but what about career success, or our big life goals? Isn't the whole point of success that you have to push harder and hustle to reach your targets?
See, that's a very common misconception. There's a massive, massive difference between effort and control.
Meaning, you still have to put the work in, obviously.
Absolutely. You should definitely put in the effort, work hard toward your goals. But where things go completely off the rails is when we introduce the need for control. Obsessing over every tiny detail, stressing yourself out about the exact timing of when things should happen, and constantly fearing failure. None of that helps you succeed. It just creates this massive wall of internal resistance.
To really drive this home, the Stoic philosopher Seneca put it perfectly. He said, "Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant."
Whoa, drags along the reluctant. That hits hard. I definitely feel like I've been dragged through a few phases of my life, kicking and screaming.
Haven't we all? Seneca's basically telling us that when you fight against the natural flow of life, when you insist that things have to happen exactly your way on your strict timeline, you create all this unnecessary struggle for yourself. You're being dragged. But when you're willing, when you just trust the process and only focus on what is actually in your power, life unfolds with so much more ease. Can we look at a real-world example of this? Like, say I have a massive job interview coming up. How does this actually play out? That is the perfect example. Let's break down the trap most people fall into. Step 1 is preparation. You've done the research, you've practiced your answers, you're ready to go. But then, you hit step 2, overthinking. Oh yeah, the classic spiral. What if they ask a question I don't know? What if I stumble over my words? What if I don't get the job? Exactly. And what happens to your energy right then? It rapidly shifts from confidence right into step 3, anxiety and tension. You walk into that interview room nervous, totally second-guessing yourself. Ironically, your desperate need to control the outcome is what's making your performance significantly worse. Now, let's contrast that with the Stoic approach to that exact same interview. Step 1 is exactly the same. Preparation. You still do the hard work. But step 2 is completely different. Trusting the work.
Okay, so instead of spiraling into all those what ifs, you just take a deep breath and remind yourself that you've done everything you possibly could?
Precisely. You trust your preparation. And that effortlessly leads you right into step 3, letting go of the outcome. Because you've let go, you walk into that room relaxed. You're completely present in the moment. And as a result, you are just so much more likely to actually crush it and succeed. Okay, I love that interview example, but how do I actually start letting go of control in my everyday, messy, chaotic life? Well, that brings us to the absolute master key of Stoicism. It's called the dichotomy of control. It really just means recognizing the very clear, solid line between what we can actively influence and what is entirely uncontrollable. Wasting your precious energy on the uncontrollable side of that line is literally what leads directly to all your frustration. So, how do we put this into practice? It really comes down to 3 clear steps. First, recognize your power. Stop wasting your energy on things you cannot change and pour it entirely into your own actions and your own mindset.
Got it.
And the second is practicing acceptance of detours.
I'm guessing that means being okay when life doesn't go exactly according to the master plan?
Exactly. Because just because life takes a detour doesn't mean it's going wrong. Sometimes those unexpected detours actually lead to much better destinations than we originally planned for ourselves. And then the third step is absolutely crucial. Build trust. Now, I don't just mean trusting the universe, but building deep, unshakable trust in yourself. Trusting that you can handle absolutely whatever comes your way, even if it wasn't what you expected at all. Okay, so letting go of control is a huge piece of the puzzle. But in this series, we're also talking about manifesting and actually attracting what we want. What is number 6 on our list? Because I've noticed some people just seem to effortlessly attract opportunities and success, almost like magic.
It really does look like magic from the outside, doesn't it? But it's not some secret advantage, and it isn't blind luck. Let's transition into rule number 6. This is about a profound, fundamental shift in how you carry yourself out there in the world.
Rule number 6 is to embody the energy of abundance. It is the stark night and day difference between a scarcity mindset and the energy of abundance. The way a person thinks and sees the world literally creates a reality where abundance just naturally flows to them.
Whereas someone with a scarcity mindset is constantly focusing on what they lack, like what they don't have yet.
Exactly. People operating from a place of scarcity seem to just struggle endlessly, no matter how incredibly hard they work. It all comes down to the energy you bring into your everyday life. Modern psychology talks about this concept all the time now, but the crazy thing is, the Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. The philosopher Epictetus framed this brilliantly. He said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants."
Wow. That really flips the modern definition of wealth completely on its head, doesn't it? We're usually taught from day one that wealth means hoarding money, collecting stuff, and stacking up achievements.
It completely reframes the whole concept. Epictetus is saying that true abundance isn't about this endless, exhausting chase for more. True abundance is the deep, profound realization that you already have enough right now to live a completely fulfilled life. Could you give me a visual of how those 2 different mindsets actually look in real life?
Sure. Imagine 2 different people walking into the exact same room. The first person is focused entirely on lack. The second they walk in, they immediately start comparing themselves to everyone else in that room. They feel like they're falling behind in life. They firmly believe success is out of reach for them. They are literally drowning in scarcity.
And the other person?
The second person operates from knowing they have enough. Because they've stopped operating from that desperate, heavy belief that they never have enough, they are incredibly relaxed. And ironically, by being so grounded and so content in who they are, they actually make room for more success to just come to them naturally.
Man, this has been incredibly eye-opening today. Just the whole idea of stopping that massive energy leak by only controlling my own actions, and then intentionally shifting into an energy of actual abundance, it really just takes all the pressure off.
It really does. It allows you to navigate your life with so much more grace and, honestly, so much more power. So as you go about your day-to-day, I want to leave you with one final provocative question to think about. What is one thing you are desperately trying to control right now that you can simply choose to let go of today? Think about that as we head into our next session. See you in part 5. I hope you like this explainer. Please subscribe and like for more.